Welcome back to Forgotten Civilizations.
In our previous video, we explored Mesopotamia, the first civilization in history. We saw how it developed between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, giving birth to cities, writing, and laws. But now it's time to travel to ancient Egypt, another powerful civilization that formed along a river, the Nile River. The importance of the Nile River. The Nile River was the lifeblood of Egypt. Unlike the unpredictable floods of Mesopotamia, the Nile flooded every year like clockwork, bringing rich, fertile soil for farming. The river provided everything Egypt needed: food, water, transportation, and trade routes. People could grow crops on the fertile land around the Nile, and the river allowed Egypt to remain connected as a civilization. Because the Nile was so dependable, Egyptians could develop a stable society, unlike other civilizations that faced unpredictable floods and droughts. Pharaohs and kingship. One of the most important aspects of ancient Egypt was the role of the pharaoh. The pharaoh wasn't just a ruler, he was considered a god on earth, the living representative of the gods. Pharaohs were believed to maintain the balance and harmony of the universe. This was called Ma'at, a concept of truth, justice, and cosmic order. The pharaoh's job was to ensure that Ma'at was maintained, which is why they were both political leaders and religious figures. Pharaohs built massive monuments to honor the gods and themselves. The most famous of these monuments are the pyramids, which were constructed as tombs for the pharaohs and were meant to help them reach the afterlife. Daily life in ancient Egypt. While pharaohs lived in grand palaces and built monumental structures, life for ordinary Egyptians was very different. Most Egyptians lived in simple homes made of mud brick. They worked as farmers, craftsmen, builders, scribes, and merchants. Farmers were the backbone of Egyptian society. They worked the land and provided food for everyone. The Nile's flooding brought nutrients to the soil, making it perfect for growing wheat, barley, and flax. Scribes were highly respected because they could read and write in hieroglyphs, the Egyptian writing system. Scribes recorded everything, from trade and laws to religious texts and royal decrees. Craftsmen produced jewelry, pottery, and sculptures. They worked on the pharaoh's grand projects, including temples and tombs. Women in ancient Egypt had more rights and freedoms compared to women in other ancient civilizations. While many worked in the home, others could own property, run businesses, and even become priests or pharaohs themselves. Religion and afterlife. Religion was at the center of life in ancient Egypt. Egyptians worshipped a vast number of gods and goddesses, each responsible for different aspects of life and nature. The god Ra, the sun god, was the most important. Pharaohs were believed to be the earthly embodiment of Ra. The belief in the afterlife was also a central part of Egyptian religion. Egyptians believed that when a person died, their soul would embark on a journey to the afterlife, where they would be judged by Osiris, the god of the underworld. If the person's heart was found to be pure, they could live forever in paradise. If not, they were cast into a void. To help the soul in this journey, Egyptians built tombs, the most famous of which are the pyramids, to protect the pharaoh's body and provide for their needs in the afterlife. They also placed mummies and grave goods in tombs to ensure that the soul was ready for its journey. Achievements of ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt's achievements are legendary. Architecture. The pyramids are the most iconic achievements, but Egypt also built massive temples, such as the Temple of Karnak and Abu Simbel. Medicine. Egyptians were advanced in medicine, with knowledge of surgery, dentistry, and anatomy. They created medical texts that influenced later civilizations. Mathematics. Egyptians used a form of mathematics to build their structures and to measure land after the Nile's floods. They also created a calendar based on the lunar and solar cycles. Engineering. The building of the pyramids, temples, and tombs required incredible engineering skills, many of which were ahead of their time. Conclusion and next video. Today, we learned how ancient Egypt thrived along the Nile River, how its people lived, and how they built one of the most enduring civilizations in history. We explored their achievements, their beliefs, and their rulers, the pharaohs. In our next video, we will take a deep dive into the Indus Valley civilization, one of the most mysterious and advanced ancient civilizations. We will explore how they lived, why we still don't know everything about them, and what made their society so unique. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Forgotten Civilizations for more. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. This is just the beginning.